what is the topic?
Well, Tasha's going to start Varsity Talks, so your topic first. That's the main event.
So I went viral on TikTok like a couple of weeks ago for a video where, and I'm going to paraphrase this, innit?
Should you?
Probably not.
Don't.
It's funny because while I'm going to play it, bear in mind it comes with a video as well.
I don't think you need to play it.
Yeah, you know what?
We'll play it in the editing.
Yeah, cut it into the edit.
Cut it in the editing. So.
Okay, cool. So, I guess now that you've probably heard it.
I haven't actually, man. They muted the sound.
Yeah. But have you heard it?
I haven't, mate. No.
You haven't heard it
but you need to hear it then. You get me?
No, so I've like, because you got captions, right?
No, you need to hear it. You need to hear it. You need to hear it. It's
Okay.
TikTok.
Very controversial.
You did.
Me and Rebecca watched it together and we were like, oh.
Yeah,
I understand why it got muted, even though I don't feel it should have, because we're talking about freedom of speech here.
Trust, we're having a conversation.
That's a separate convo, innit?
But I'm gonna
don't really say anything that bad, to be honest with you.
There was one thing that I wish I'd added. Not even wish I'd added. I'd forgot to add a very small point that created a very
Right, let me watch it and then tell me your point.
So let me get this straight. You get mad at white people for using the N-word when it was them that created it in the first place. Why is it that as black people, we've taken a derogatory term used against us and now we're holding on to it like it's some badge of privilege? Oh no, you can't say the N-word, you're not black. But for real though, you don't see Chinese people calling each other and you don't see gay people calling each other. So why is it that we take pride in being able to call each other my nigga? In my opinion, the only people who should be able to use the N-word is white people. I mean, come on, they took the time and the energy and all the hatred and the insecurities to make up the word. Let them have it. But let it be known, if you call me a nigga, I'm gonna punch your throat.
Okay.
And now they silenced that, Nathaniel, on TikTok.
500,000 views, guys.
Got 500,000 views.
Half a million views.
And then they took away the sound.
5,000
so you can see
followers.
the video, but you can't listen to it anymore. The comments were crazy.
The comments
There was some
went
funny
wild.
comments, though. There was some
The
funny
comments went wild.
Listen, there was one comment that just struck out to me. You know which one I'm going to say?
I don't know which one it was, but
And it was at the top at the time when me and Rebecca watched it. And it was like, he definitely has a white boyfriend.
Yeah, man, see that as well. Man, see that as well.
Fam, I see it, fam. I even put that one because I put another video.
Yeah. No, we watched that as well. Because he did another video afterwards about the comments, innit? Like talking about all of them.
Yo.
But yeah, the comments were
wild.
Yeah, some of them funny.
The comments are wild, bro. So yeah, that happened, didn't it? And the things that I wish I'd mentioned, I forgot to mention were, well, I don't think I needed to, because a lot of people latched onto the fact that I said, I think in my opinion, the only people who should be able to use the word is white people. And then I went into my reasons as to why. But what they overlooked was that at the end, I said, but if you call me a nigger, I'm going to punch your throat. And so what a lot of people assumed was that I'd said that basically black people don't use the N-word, but white people can because it's their word. It's like, no, it's deeper than that. Because what I'm saying to you is that it's your word. You can use it because it's yours, but if you try it, you're going to get hit. You get me? Like, it's going to be a fight.
It's not respected still.
Exactly. It's yours, have it, but don't try to enforce it on me. You get me? Like,
that's definitely not clear in the video.
Exactly. But then you get me?
It's implied.
It's implied and it's
implied.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
The final message was that, listen, but if you do, you get me? Like,
and you did it in a jokey way, but I think through the jokey wayness,
and it's TikTok, and you get me? Like, and people only listening to like 30 seconds of it before they've written their comment. You feel me? Like, so it's just one of those things, isn't it? And it was interesting. It was interesting because it started a conversation and it got people talking. And I think as much as a lot of people like to do certain things to go viral, like, it started a conversation, and there were perspectives in there that I hadn't thought of before, you get me? And that people were saying things that other people hadn't heard before, you feel me? And then there was a lot of people talking about like the term niggas, innit? That remember Kendrick Lamar mentioned it at the back of his songs, innit? And like people talk about niggas, like, oh no, black people created the word, like you don't know what you're talking about, you're ignorant.
Let me hear some explanation of what niggas means.
So niggas basically means king. So it was like for a black king, innit? And so
but it's not spelled the same. It's niggas.
Yeah, Negus. You feel me? Like, and so then people were basically referencing that in the comment section, like basically saying, "Oh, you're uneducated and whatnot." But I guess my argument to that would have been, and was, if I gave the comment section enough time, is that my point is that there's something is contradictory here. Right. Something we need to decide on how we use this thing, or if we can use it at all. Because it seems to me that when you say it to your brothers, it's not a problem, but then when anyone else says it, it is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we have this whole division of, oh, no, because it's a term of endearment. But I'm like, well, no, the term is the term. And bearing in mind, considering that you didn't create it, you created negus, and we know what that means. We know what negus means. That's Black King. And if a white person called you a negus, you might still feel funny about it, but the reality is what he said was what he said. You feel me? The difference is why is it that when you call your brother a nigger, but then someone else calls you a nigger, then it becomes racist? It's like, well, no, there's a contradiction there, and that needs to be cleared up. So my point is, my stance is that no one should be saying it, even as a black person. Why would you hold on to a term that was used against you, a derogatory term?
See, I don't agree.
Okay.
Like I agree with some of your points, of course, man, but I don't agree that no one should say it, because I feel like you create a bigger problem down the line, right? If you, this is not initially what I wanted to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Like I'm a PlayStation player. Me and Shannon, we're on PlayStation, right? And there's something fascinating about being anonymous on the mic. A lot of people take advantage of that. You hear the N-word a lot. Now here's the thing, right? There's also, on the flip side, a very profound fascination out there in the rest of the UK about what's going on in London. These guys glamorize our lives. They hear you talk in a London accent, they would just assume I'm black. I've had multiple people to say, "Oh, you talk black." You talk black is the term. I've heard multiple times.
That's funny, because I get the complete opposite.
Yeah, well,
I
remember we were in that party back in the day on R6 with I don't know if you remember, like, I don't know, we were playing Charlie and those guys. They literally said, "Yo, you talk black." I would have thought that you were like, it was all a matter. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is I hear the N-word a lot. That's just something that I suppose what I'm trying to say is you empower trolls. You empower that shit. If you say, "Yo, you don't fucking say it," people are gonna fucking say it just because you said you can't. And that's just the whole.
But the thing is, though,
trolls in a nutshell. But what's up? You're rinsing man's drink.
Why you just ask, like?
No, I don't want to keep the conversation, bro. You might keep talking. All
right, but can I just say that quickly that I don't think you should ban a word from the vocabulary.
But
like,
you know what, you say that, but it's already banned.
Yeah,
technically.
Well, here's the thing, right? You know, because it's not
75%.
Here's the thing, right? Because it's not essentially.
It is, though.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
it is.
it's not.
It is in terms of social politics, right?
Yeah.
But let's take it back all the way back to Miss Brennan. I remember this as clearly in my head because it was quite an impactful moment. We were reading something from history. She was our history teacher.
Yeah,
Miss Brennan. This is.
Shannon
knows who Miss Brennan is. Believe me.
Yeah.
If you got the exclusive last episode, you will know who she is.
Real talk.
You know.
Anyway, there was she was reading an excerpt from something, and as she came up to the word, she made that little disclaimer, which I think is actually personally.
I don't remember this.
Right, yeah, I remember this quite clearly, actually. I remember your reaction as well, Tashan. That's pretty much it. That was literally a reaction, man. So she gave this little disclaimer. I'm going to say the N-word. And obviously, I'm going to say a word that is, or whatever. And she said it. And she didn't say it in an offensive way. She was literally quoting text, right? And there was a sudden... like there was a shock that ran through the class, and I remember then feeling I was a bit confused. Not confused. What's the word? I wasn't confused, but I was conflicted is a very good one. Conflicted because I had never heard a teacher say that, I suppose, and I didn't really, provided that she gave that disclaimer, I didn't really agree with the reaction because it was quoted from text. We were young. This is young.
Yeah.
But that feeling resonated with me, and it still does, personally. See, now, I don't think, and I know I'm talking a lot, we'll obviously open this up in just to say after I finish this point, but the thing about the N-word is I don't think you should, I feel conflicted even saying the term N-word, because I don't think the word is actually such a bad one. Now, I agree, now hear me out, I agree that it's obviously a word that denotes horrible, horrible things, right? It's a heavy word. It's perhaps the most taboo word in our time. But I don't think you should I don't think a word should be removed from the vocabulary. I think you should be able to say the word. I just don't think you should be able to fucking be a cunt with it. I think anyone should be able to say that word. And I'm tempted to, as I say that word, but
it's tough because like.
Wait. No. I want to interject. Sorry for a second.
Yeah, and I'd like to explore my deep in my opinion after.
Because the thing is, the reason you have to understand, but the reason why the word is so taboo in today, is because of slavery, but not like slavery happened all over the world. You know, slavery happened for like there was a number and acts worse than slavery happened. You know, you have World War II and the Jews. You know, you have a number of madly genocidal moments. The thing about slavery between black people and white people, European and American, whatever, was the length of time, and that's what makes this situation in terms of this slavery very different than every other situation.
I don't know about every other situation.
Well, now let me explain why. Let me explain why first.
Please.
You have 400 years, 300 to 400 years. Now, because of that, because of the way the word was used within those years, it has a number of mental.
Isn't it between 2 and 300?
No, it's between 3 and 4.
Okay.
But you have a number of mental and you have a number of negative effects, mental, culturally, and whatnot for black people.
No doubt.
But in terms of the mental side, you have to imagine the way this word was used to dehumanize black people through those 300 years. We'll say 300 because I'm not exactly sure, but throughout those 300 years.
Yeah.
Now, what I feel happened was that during those times, black people were using the word. You have like you have the phrase, or not the phrase, but like the house nigger. The Samuel L. Jackson in Django. The black guy who's the main black guy for the white man. You have black people who were using the word nigger, the actual way, like with the actual definition that white people had set for it at that time. They were using it to dehumanize other black people, And I think because of that, that's how it became into use within the black culture itself, So then you go forward, and you imagine people are using it for that length of time, and then slavery stops and whatnot. It's already embedded somewhat in the black culture to use that word.
Yeah.
So then, but it gets to a point where, civilization is advancing, people are changing, that, black people may be somewhat not, I wouldn't say, like, the thing is that a word can mean anything, that you say it to be, it can mean anything, and I think with nigger, it means a number of things. Because it means,
now it does.
It means
now
all
it
of them.
Now it does, yeah.
But it also means none of them at the same time, kind of.
But that's important too, right?
And I think because of the fact that we started using it during those slavery times against our own people, it got to a point where we kind of subconsciously started using it for a lot of things in modern days. And I say modern, but I still don't mean like today. I'm talking like maybe 100 years ago, 70 years ago, or whatever, innit? And it started to kind of change in the way we used it, and we started to use it more freely, and it started to mean all these other meanings. Now, with that being said, I feel that it was used originally by black people negatively. I believe that in order for it to get to the stage where it is now, it had to be that black people were using it as to call another black person a nigger, like a proper nigger. Like,
that's a justifiable, But
so, so with that being said, I feel it's understandable that we've got to the point now where people are using it, because
casually,
of course, because that's hard to erase.
This is what's crazy though, and this is why, like my point of setting up that video in particular was to not only highlight the contradictory mentality, the fact that there's something doesn't make sense about this word, because it's almost like we can't quite decide in which direction we're going. But I really would, if I'm gonna be completely honest, I really would like the word to be eradicated. I know I agree with you in the sense that no word should be able to be completely off the grid, and I get your reasons for that. But at the same time, not only because the origin and where it comes from, where it stems from, because it's so horrible, I think it should. But then also, like, it's the irony behind it is that you speak about like the trolls online. Obviously, because you're behind the safety of a computer and no one's really seen you, it's just your voice or whatever, or just you typing, you feel like you're brave enough to say it. I honestly imagine that if black people stop saying it ourselves, honestly, everyone else will stop saying it, or at least slowly, gradually get rid of stop using it. And the reason why is because they don't then have a leg to stand on, because then it almost, based on what we've seen so far, And the reaction that they've got so far when they use that word, it's always been seen as, oh, you can't say that because then if you say it, then you're calling me basically that same thing that the guy was calling me back 400 years ago. You feel me? If we stop saying it, whenever anyone else says it, if black people aren't saying it, and say, for example, a European saying it or a Chinese man is saying it, then it's automatically offensive. Because socially, right now, you're not allowed to say that word. Only black people are.
See, the thing is that, like Samuel was saying, we play a lot of PlayStation, and we come across a lot of people. I've had to tell a lot of people off in my party at times.
Well, I have.
Like,
Disgust me, man.
I've never heard you do it.
I have.
I've always, whenever we've been in the party,
I do it often. I just did it the other day. I was
swear down.
Yeah, man. Anyway, yeah.
But like, I've had a number of instances where I've been like sometimes I can't be. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I can't be asked.
No,
Though. Sometimes I just can't be asked. Sometimes I'm chilling, I'm playing games. Someone says it, and I'm just like, like it may not even be the person I know in the party. It'll be a friend of a friend who's in the party with us. And we're playing, and he will say it, and just for the sake of like, I just can't be asked to have that conversation. Like, so I'm gonna let that. I'm not gonna let it slide. I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear it and move on. But there's been instances where I've been like, bro, like, listen, you can't be doing that. Especially if it's someone I play with continuously, and then they throw it out and I'm like, bro, no, it's not like that. But I remember one time we did it, I told Reese off, when we used to play Reese, Charlie, Rainbow Six. Yeah. And I think it was Reese I told off. And he gave this explanation of how, where he's from. Everyone just, he's from a predominantly white town or whatever in the UK. Everyone says it.
Because there's no one to check them.
He was like, his family says it.
Because there's no one to check them.
Because everyone says it.
Best believe you bring them to London, they won't say it.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah, man.
So because they know, people understand that people understand the origin of the word. And so this is what I'm saying, like, no matter which way it's twisted, no matter which way we use it, no matter how much we've lubricated it a bit so it slides through a bit, it's still going to be rough, you feel me? Like,
but then
at least on the underneath.
But will they still stop though?
Because they will, bro.
But the thing is that if they know, if like you said, that even if they came to London, they wouldn't stop saying it.
No, I'm not saying they will stop. They're not going to say it in front of people. Like,
sorry, I said it wrong. Like, even if they came to London, they wouldn't say it anyway. That means they're conscious. That means they're aware of what they're saying. So even if we stopped saying it, behind closed doors, they probably still would. Yeah,
they probably still would. And I guess there's some things you can't control, innit?
Yeah.
I guess there's some things you can't control. Yeah. But if it's a word that people consciously feel like we have to say behind closed doors, then we really shouldn't be saying it. As far as I'm concerned, if you have to say it within the safety of your walls, but
you still have to understand why it's a part of the black culture of saying it today.
Of course, I completely understand.
Like I said, where it comes from. So, I mean, this conversation is more of an awareness of maybe we should try to stop saying it, but I understand why we started saying it.
But we need to unnormalize it. That's what we need to.
I mean,
everyone's talking about normalizing things. We need to unnormalize.
The thing is that a lot of the black culture's problems are so, like I said, the thing that separates the slavery situation between the black culture and the white culture and every other genocidal mad situation that happened on Earth.
And let's not disregard that shit, because there have been many prominent ones, right?
There's been many, but very little that compare in time length. And time is a very important factor in terms of the way it affects a culture.
Right.
Mentally, I'm talking, and beyond that. But mentally wise, you fuck with someone's mental, that's almost the worst thing you can do. Yeah. And to do it for a culture for 300 odd years,
generational PTSD.
That's gonna have mad effects.
It
certainly has.
And if we could talk about some of the black problems that are of today, bleaching. Hate for your own skin, things like that's because of slavery.
That's the tip of the tip.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's so many little bubbles of negative effects from that 300 odd years, which are deep rooted into that culture.
Mm-hmm. But also, to add to your point, I would say that it's a singular event as well, actually, in terms of like the fact that a mass of people and masses of people were brought into.
I was going to say on a geographic
ended
location,
up inhabiting said nation as well. So yeah, it's definitely its own individual case study, no doubt. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is that we, as a result of that, there's obviously a lot of look inward and a lot of it's obviously its own thing, and everyone is aware of it, and you have this huge mass of people who are aware of it. But as a result, there are I remember doing a bit of research on this, and it's just a shame that I can't really call forward the sources. I should have just prepared, but Yeah, man. It's not a singular event as far as people being owned and bought and sold and forced into labor and
No,
and
it's
all of
not.
that.
No, it's not.
But
I never said it was. Like I said, the
No,
time
it's
length
the
is what
time,
makes
yeah.
it unique.
Yeah, personally, what I think makes it unique is the inadvertent migration.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the fact that you have eventually throughout time, like settlements or co-settlements, but like, I don't know, like essentially the black people were freed and settled in said country, and obviously
African
there's that
Americans
too.
got black Brits.
that's
But that's what makes it even worse, though.
Yeah, it's
Really,
just
truly.
a very
yeah,
concentrated.
that's like
Because like
that's-
300 years of like that mentality being that culture being broken down, and then you're just free. Like
Yeah,
that's not gonna change.
Lost in the world,
much.
fam.
Yeah,
Lost in the world.
It's
It's,
like
it's true.
you're
And I
broken
think
by then.
It's funny because
Like-
I saw something. I'm going to ask you something in a second, but I saw something also on TikTok with some American girls basically vexed. She came to London and she went out with her other American friend. Went to a club. She was leaving the club, and two British guys, of course, basically were trying to talk to them after the club. And she was basically saying that he asked her where she was from, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm from America." He was like, "No, but where you from?" Like, and then she was like, "I don't know. Like, I'm African American." You get me? He was like, "How do you not know where you're from? You feel me?" Like, and then she was like, "Well, I don't know. I just not really taught these things, innit? Like, so it's not my fault that my ancestors was brought over here, you know, and kind of just left here, like." And then I thought about the video and I was like, wait, what? Like, and this is a common thing I've seen in a lot of Americans. Like, they don't, like, a lot of Americans claim African Americans. Sorry, a lot of African Americans claim that title, African American. You get me? Like, and they don't. So obviously, curriculum plays a huge part in it, but they don't take the necessary steps to go outside of the American and find out what part of Africa they're from.
But not even that.
But
I hate the term African American.
it doesn't make sense. But I mean, that's another
You're
conversation. But
American,
that
what is that
it's
about?
crazy, innit? But it's
You don't
the
say African British. Like,
exactly. But we do.
like
But we
that.
do have Black British though.
Yeah, but even then, that's just fucking.
That's more. It's more formulated. You get me? It's more like on forms and shit. But the very term that we have, Black British, is
don't
like
dig it.
at that point you've completely removed pretty much everything from me. You don't. That doesn't assign me to a country other than a country that's not mine. You get me? Black British. Like you've
If
completely
anything, it
removed
just
my identity.
stigmatizes you.
Exactly. Like I'm the Black British. Like what? Like it's so. So when I look at
dig
it from
it.
that level, it really is deep. But the question I was going to ask you,
Okay, quick.
is
I do want to move on to the next
exactly.
topic. I want to move on to the next topic.
So you are with your, I say new girlfriend. She's not even new. How long?
It seems like it's going to be interracial.
Yeah,
So
hold
how
on.
long-
Let
Are
me.
we going to the interracial
Well, yeah, of
topic?
course. What it was.
One second,
Okay.
then, one second.
Alright, go on.
Let me clarify my point. Yeah, I don't think. I know I said this, and maybe I'm repeating myself, but I don't think the word should be eliminated from the vocabulary. I think it should be somewhat normalized, but it should never be used in a hateful way. Like, I don't think a person should not be able to say a word. That to me seems slightly absurd in terms of the greater picture. Like, if I'm looking at the bigger picture, I don't feel like a word should be excluded.
I think
Just don't use it with hate.
I think it should be excluded, but given the current circumstances and how normalized it's become, either exclude it indefinitely or normalize it and change its meaning and go run with the meaning that you claim it is now. You get me? For it to be so
What
free
kind
and
of
so
difference is-
casual.
I think it's fine how it is.
Really?
I
What?
think- I
Yeah,
think it's
you know
fine
what?
how it is.
I hear
think-
that too.
I think, like I said, I
I feel
understand.
like it's positive in a kind of.
Well, yeah, no, I understand
in a
where it
weird
came from
trajectory.
and how we got here, and because I understand, and it seems logical that we've got to this point with the way we use the word.
Let them run it.
I think, I think let it run it. White people can't say it because of the history.
More white people say it though.
Yeah, of course.
Say it
More
again.
like, if anything, the normalization of it has led to white people being more easy. Like, it's just easier to use, man. It's turned into a cool thing. Yeah, I
White
personally would
people
say-
don't say it unless white people don't
I'm
say
talking about
it.
young white boys, for example. Like, as a demographic, I would definitely say
They
there's
still
a lot
understand though. They will only say it when they think they're
Yeah,
with their people.
yeah.
And
You're
I
right.
think
You're right, but they're
and
still
I-
saying it.
and
is
you
my
can't.
point.
Yeah, they're still saying it, and you can't stop that. You can tell people off for it, but like,
Also, if you can't say it, like, how you gonna know the dickheads? How are you gonna point out the racist ones? If you can't say it, like, all these people are just gonna be under the radar, D-low. Like, if you don't say it, it becomes like some kind of like Orwellian thing where, like, you can't fucking step out of line. Yo, like, how are you gonna pick out the cunts?